Hi, viewers. Welcome to another exciting episode of the AI People, where we share inspiring stories of thinkers and builders who are humanizing AI. Today, I have with me Josh and Liam from IBM to talk about AI in retail. Josh, Liam, why don't you kick us off with an introduction?
Sure. Hi, I'm Josh Bello. I'm a platform engineer based in London, currently focused on our sort of biggest UK retail clients.
Hello, everyone. I'm Liam Patty. I'm an AI engineer in the Americas in our client engineering, focusing specifically on agentic AI.
That's great. Thank you so much for the intros. So today we have experts from both sides of the house. We have an AI expert and we have a retail expert. I want to briefly touch upon NRF, National Retail Federation. They host their conference in New York. It's the biggest retail show, and both Liam and Josh got back from NRF. It happened a month ago, but still, I think the trends and insights are reverberating the retail industry. So, would love to get your thoughts on what you thought was like really interesting coming out of this conversation at NRF.
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
I can chime in. I suppose the biggest thing for me, and I think what was really exciting about NRF is a lot of organizations went from what AI use case can we do, or how can we add an agent to this or a chatbot, much more to, okay, this is obviously the way forward. How can we bring this into our organization, do it in a safe way, and then also scale it up to every customer be able to use it?
Yep, I would double down on that. And I would say, from the question, what might have used to be, do we need AI, has become instead, how do we incorporate AI to automate these kinds of processes and take advantage of this technology? So it's become much less optional, I would say.
That's great. So obviously there would have been a lot of trends coming out of the conference from an AI standpoint as well. I was looking at some of the threads on LinkedIn, for example, a lot of conversations around AI, agentic AI. Retail industry specifically, you have so many players in operating in grocery, specialty retail, big box retail, like Costco, for example. So where is AI delivering real value today in some of these pockets versus just experimentation? I'll start with Josh and then Liam, you can chime in.
I think obviously at NRF, the scale is just crazy. So you see so many use cases. I think for me, the most interesting one from business point of view was this sort of hyper personalization, especially when it came to fashion. So speaking to a retailer who started doing the whole thing where customers can try on clothes before purchasing, and they were saying not only were more people buying clothes because they felt comfortable that it would look good on them, but also the return rate was down massively because customers weren't buying things which looked, well, the AI was helping them imagine what it would look on them, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I think the entry of AI into the marketplace starts somewhere along the lines of, the IBM Client Zero initiative, where you have chatbots that people are able to talk to that can pull resources and knowledge and call tools and essentially enable you to do your job faster, better, with more confidence, easy access to information. Um, but really, a lot of what we're talking about, AI allows you to do so much more creatively. I would say like the applications are really almost, it's corny, but it's almost like what you can imagine. Like, where can you place this technology? What are the kinds of things that you can automate using AI and the flexibility of AI that you wouldn't be able to do with a deterministic system?
That's great. So yeah, we have like two different um, approach here in terms of bringing AI systems. I believe the traditional AI is more deterministic, whereas agentic AI is more probabilistic. Um, so I really like this analogy, right? Traditional AI is more like a train running on a rail. It is very unidirectional, right? Whereas agentic AI is like an all-terrain vehicle. It can navigate different landscape. You just have to provide some baseline in terms of what are its goals, and then it'll figure out how to get to its goals. So I want to talk about agentic AI. Like, are we moving closer to day-to-day retail operations? Where do you think AI agents will make the biggest impact first? Is it customer experience, employee productivity? Those are like, you know, um, typical use cases that you would expect in any industry. Can be back office automation, or do we have anything like retail specific where you think agentic AI can have an impact? I'll start with Liam and then Josh. Please share your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, my reaction to that is I feel like you almost always, with any new technology that you're introducing to in like existing infrastructure, you want to start with your employees, right? Because bringing that kinds of stuff, especially when it's non-deterministic, when you're using large language models to power these kinds of capabilities, to do that at an enterprise scale, you need really rigorous governance, monitoring, evaluations, testing. So starting with bringing it to your employees, using that as an opportunity to cycle feedback and iterate and really understand the way that these systems work. And then once you have that, developing the vision out to bring it more directly to your consumers.
And I think jump
Great.
what Leon said. I think a great use case is after you sort of I don't know clean the house is a customer service use case. It's a very classic one. Um, I think what agents have already got so much use in customer service sort of situations. I think the problem which customers are now bringing to us now is you almost need a hierarchy in sort of the agent's flow where they have a manager. Like what happens if two agents have a dispute, a sales agent and someone's in charge of margins. So there's a whole new issue where not only is there a company hierarchy, but there's almost an agent hierarchy as well.
That's great to hear. I think, yeah, you're bringing up a really good point. It's not just an agent operating in isolation, working with a human, but it's agents and agents collaborating with each other. This makes a strong case for an organization to have a scalable AI agent strategy, right? And obviously, there are a lot of pilots happening. So by now, organizations should be in a point where they can chart out that strategy. And Josh, you're in a position in client engineering where you have opportunities to work with clients to understand what they are doing from all these pilots, and now as they elevate the strategy. So, do you have any thoughts on what could be an ideal AI agent strategy that is scalable, working with some of your retail clients in UK?
Yeah, I think the now we're sort of in such an exciting time where it's so, as you said, so easy to build these AI apps. I think the issue is at the start, a lot of companies will be like, "Oh, this would be fun to do. Let's build this out," and they do it. They take a few months, and then the actual return on investment is pretty slim. Either that the use case isn't actually used by customers, or it's something which demos well, but once you take it outside the confines of this very strict demo, it doesn't scale very well. So I think using a team like client engineering is a great way where you can build out these use cases, make sure they actually make an impact to the business, but then also build on a platform where you're not just building on something which has not got a sort of template or guardrails and governance and proper infrastructure. You've got something where that sort of day one infrastructure is able to scale globally and is able to do that in a safe way.
Yeah,
Sure,
I mean,
that makes
yeah, sorry. I would double down on that for sure. I would say that something that's really easy to fall into, especially when you're talking about agentic systems that use large language models that have these reasoning capabilities that make them seem like they're thinking like people do, is it gets very easy to almost over apply them to every piece of the cycle. And I think that for these kinds of systems, even though it seems like you may need system design less, you need it more. And you need to be very conscious and deliberate with how you're building these systems and why you're actually using AI where you are. Um, just to get back to your original question on sort of how you build these systems to scale, I think orchestration is really important and sort of having one almost unified platform for building out your agents, reducing sprawl across your organization, right? Because you don't want to be in a position where you have 100 different employees who are all building their own agents on different platforms using different tools. Um, you want to have one place where you can bring it together so you can enforce or at least encourage your organizational standards, best practices. You can bring them into one space so that you can monitor them, you can observe them, you can test them. And then people will have more connectivity to actually work together on these kinds of things as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Josh, Liam. The role of humans here in this new construct is that of a designer and an architect, right? Agents can really coordinate the workflows and execute them. That's where the orchestration layer becomes really important. And if you think about it, people grasp what agentic AI is, and people understand what LLMs is because we are interacting with it every day, right? But LLMs itself is they are stateless. They don't hold a memory, right? And every time someone interacts with an agent, it has to engage the LLM and also connect to the various data sources. So integration, I think, is going to be really important, and also the tooling that allows both humans and agents to make the best use of LLMs and your organizational data. So can you talk a little bit more about what kind of technology capabilities that we need between the LLMs and the agentic layer that will be critical for the success of retail clients? Whoever wants to jump in.
I can start. Um, so wow, you mentioned a few things. I'll try and speak about them. So I think the first one you mentioned about systems, and I think interestingly, both the massive retailers and the small retailers have issues in both places. Because I think the big retailers will have sort of huge, massive systems which have huge fragmentation and using agents on them where you're not just sort of purely reading the data, you're actually interacting, making changes. That's incredibly difficult to do well. And then I think on the smaller, more either bespoke or less developed retailers, you have the issue where your systems are less modern. Maybe you're using just cameras to monitor everything, and they're very sort of basic CCTV cameras compared to all these big systems. Or maybe you don't have proper point of sale systems. You're doing stuff by paper. So I think every single size of organization has those issues. The biggest, I suppose, moving on to the integration part, especially with retail, having real-time events is never been more important. There's a huge issue where if you use LLMs on old information, the insights you get could be outdated by the time you actually integrate them or use them in real life. So, as I selfishly, the demo we were sharing it, NRF was talking about how you could use IBM Event Automation, which uses Kafka, and how you can, on real-time events, make AI decisions and have agents looking at those real-time events. And I think that would be never more crucial than now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as well, that's one of those use cases where, as I was talking about before, like that is the kind of use case that no other automation can do, right? You have real-time events, point of sale, maybe going through the checkout of a grocery store, or you have live events coming through on a camera, and there's no way of necessarily predicting what exactly is going to be coming into your system. And so if you want to create a system that's able to react to that dynamically, take action based off of that, and actually drive potentially further information seeking, further information gathering to create actionable insights from that. That's really a great example of where you really need something like agentic AI as a piece of a larger system. Um, yeah.
That's great. Thanks for bringing up the real-time Kafka-based integrations, right? This means the difference between AI agents um, being street smart versus being book smart, right? Current AI agents are book smart. They can really, um, MCP is like getting a library card, and then you have access to all the knowledge bases in your organization. But that's not really going to help the agent act on information that is flowing into the system. So that's what I think events will be really important, and especially since retailers are engaging with consumers. Consumers are responsive to trends. With all the data flowing in, I think retailers can deliver true a moment of truth experiences for their customers. So thanks for sharing that. And um, I mean, to wrap things up, I want to get your thoughts on where you think the retail industry is heading in the next 2 to 3 years with AI. I don't want to even talk about like 5 to 10 years, right? Should probably be talking about 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years increments. So let's maybe start with Josh and Liam. Chime in.
That's a big question. I think the big thing will be people will see AI agents less as these sort of new exciting thing and something which they don't understand, more to there will be teammates which they'll interact with day to day and message like they would a normal sort of colleague. So I think doing that, it would just become such a standard part of the organization that it would just be so important to do that on a in a platform which is scalable and safe.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the normalization of integrated AI, so much so that it almost sits in the background, right? So part of the demo that we were giving at NRF was the story where you have all of your real-time data coming into the store and your agent is actively processing that, looking at that, et cetera. But you could also have an agent that is kicked off maybe at the start of every day or at the end of every week that goes back and does a real in-depth analysis using your internal data, looking at external data using something like search, and then using that to compile a report, create evaluations, basically what went well, why did it go well? And the why it went well is really why you need the agents. And then what went wrong, why did it go wrong? And digging deeper into those to actually identify root causes and then create something like a plan for the next week or the next month or whatever your time horizon looks like on that. Um, so I would say embedded agents in a way that they almost fit into the background to inform the decision makers as far as key insights that is almost automatic deep analysis of what you're doing for enterprise or retail ops.
That's great to hear. So many exciting innovation in the pipeline for the retail industry, and thank you so much, Josh, Liam, for being on the AI People to share these amazing insights. Viewers, if you like this video, to like, comment, and share, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, I'll catch you soon with another exciting episode of the AI People.
Awesome. Thank you, Vivek.
Thank you.